Hello everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for sailingweather.co.uk and weatherweb.net with your weekend forecast and week-ahead outlook for sailing in the British Isles. Let's start off with the chart for Friday first of all, and this is the situation for Friday midday. Low pressure centred out in the mid-Atlantic, a big area of low pressure driving fronts northwards and rain spreading across most areas. Clearing up fairly quickly though for the southern part of the Irish Sea out towards southwestern parts of England and Wales, fairly quickly brightening up here on Friday morning. Some showers though to follow in from the southwest. That rain though persistent across more northern parts of the Irish Sea, across Scotland and down these eastern coasts of England. Some persistent rain well on into Friday afternoon. Some strong winds as well associated with that front. This is the situation around 9 AM on Friday morning. Strong southeasterlies at around a force 7 across the northeastern parts of England to a force 7 or a force 8 through the Irish Sea and southwestern parts of Scotland. Even northeastern parts of Scotland nearer to a force 8 as well. Across the English Channel, more towards a southerly direction, here at around a force 5 or a force 6 in exposure, and gradually easing down from the southwest, getting nearer to a force 5 or a force 4 in the southwestern approaches as we go through the morning. For the middle of the Irish Sea, typically at a force 7, again coming in from the south. Lighter winds to the west of Ireland dropping towards a force 5. By the afternoon, the strongest of the winds are more confined to northern Britain, still as a southeasterly pattern here at around a force 7 to a force 8 in exposure. Would be surprised if the odd force 9 well offshore. Across the south of England though, typically dropping away quite a bit, coming in from the south, a southerly direction as a force 4, and maybe just a force 5 in exposure, but it will tend to drop through the afternoon. Still though, towards the southwest, could be nearer to a force 5 or a force 6, with some squally showers around into the afternoon. The Irish Sea wind speeds dropping down nearer to a force 5 or 6 in exposure, after being force 7 in the morning. On into Saturday then, and we've got a front away towards the northeast still, and producing some rain for the northeastern side of Scotland, and winds here strong as well. We've got southeasterlies at a force 6 to a force 7, strongest towards Shetland, nearer to a force 5 across the eastern side of Scotland though. For western Scotland, much lighter winds, here typically easterlies at around a force 3, and similarly easterlies force 3 in the Irish Sea. Drier, much brighter conditions across many parts of the Irish Sea and western Scotland, also a good part of eastern England staying dry for a good deal of Saturday. Out towards the south and the southwest though, this area of low pressure producing some showers, some heavy slow moving and possibly thundery showers in the southwestern corner of the country through Saturday. Wind speeds in the English Channel are around a southerly at around a force 4 to a force 5 across more eastern regions, away towards the southwest though, nearer to a southeasterly, and in terms of wind speed at a force 4 or 5 again. Locally it may just touch force 6 in exposure, where some showers move through, could be quite squally. Nearer to the south coast of Ireland though, nearer to a force 3 or a force 4. Quite a messy picture for Sunday then. We've got low pressure still across the country, but a broad feature. One area of low pressure towards the English Channel though, still producing some quite potent showers through the course of the day. Across Scotland, northeastern parts of England, just this front off the North Sea spreading in during the day, and rain setting in across many parts of eastern Scotland by the looks of it as we go through the day on Sunday. Elsewhere, one or two showers, but again, central parts of the country, the Irish Sea, eastern England, not doing too bad for a good part of the day and staying fairly bright if quite cool. In terms of wind speeds across the English Channel, across more eastern regions, nearer to a southeasterly, generally to a force 3 or a force 4. Out across more central areas, maybe dropping down to a force 2 at times, nearer to an easterly direction here, and then more western regions, closer to a northeasterly and nearer to force 3 or 4, perhaps force 4 more widely in the south-western approaches of England, Wales and Ireland. In the Irish Sea, we're looking at wind speeds as a north-northeasterly, typically at a force 4, maybe dropping to force 3 in some shelter. Similar for western Scotland, here generally north or northeasterly at around a force 4, perhaps dropping quite a bit lower in shelter again. However, towards the eastern side of Scotland, northeastern England, increasing here, easterly winds nearer to a force 6 or 7, I think tending to increase as the day goes on. East Anglia, though, quite a bit lighter and variable, often down to a force 3 or less. For Monday, low pressure still parked across the country, quite a weak feature, but some slow-moving showers associated with this, and merging at times into some longer periods of rain. Some difficulties on the detail, I think, out towards the south and the west again, prone to seeing showers, and again, eastern Scotland feeding in rain off the North Sea, with this frontal feature still in existence. Again here, towards the northeast of Scotland, strongest of the winds, easterlies, at around a force 6 or a 7 again, so the strongest of the winds reserved for this area. Elsewhere, we've got fairly cyclonic conditions as the air revolving around this area of low pressure. Out towards the southwest, typically it's a northwesterly wind at around a force 4 to perhaps a force 5 in exposure. Across more southeastern areas, typically to a southwesterly and more likely a force 3 or a force 4. In exposure in the Irish Sea, coming round as a westerly, maybe locally getting to a force 5 or slightly higher. I think that may be on the high side. Looking towards Tuesday, and its fronts moving back in from the Atlantic as we go through the day, gradually we've got rain encroaching into the southwestern approaches and wind speeds increasing here all the while. Starting off as a southerly, gradually moving round to a southeasterly, starting off near to a force 5 but increasing to 6 or 7, perhaps slightly stronger as that front approaches later on in the day. Eastern regions though, eastern Scotland, eastern England faring better through the day on Tuesday. Winds here quite a bit lighter, tend to be south or southeasterlies and often around force 3 or force 4 or less. Again, staying dry across eastern areas through the day and better across eastern Scotland than it will have been on previous days. Northern Scotland though, probably sticking with winds quite frequently towards a force 5 or a force 6, and those winds increasing all the while. As these fronts spread their way in overnight into Wednesday, stronger winds will be with us for the middle part of the week and looking unsettled and fairly cool again. We'll bring you right up to date though with the very latest details for next week in the next video issued on Monday. For now though, thank you for watching and bye for now.